Okay, so I still have more questions than answers as it pertains to the election that we just saw in Trinidad and Tobago. And I know that people are going to try and criticize and say, look, why are you asking so much questions? You're not even from Trinidad and Tobago. But the last time I checked, I have a CARICOM passport. And I believe that in the Caribbean, being a part of CARICOM, that we are all one people. And I think sometimes in the Caribbean, we forget that our politicians are public servants. I think that is a critical thing that we need to remember. Our politicians, our MP, our prime ministers, they are no different from the police officers that are public servants, from the nurses that are public servants, from the garbage collectors that are public servants. The politicians are working for the people. The politicians are not our boss. And one of the things, I love sports, and one of the things with sports is that when you enter a game, like if you're playing in the NBA or you're playing in the Champions League, and a team lose a game, in warm-up, in training the next day, they would go and look at video footage of what did they do, where did they go wrong. And I believe that that is something that our politicians can learn from sports. So my questions, I should be able to ask questions. And one of the things, as I said, what happened in Trinidad and Tobago, I have never seen it happen in my entire life. The Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Raleigh decided that, look, I have had enough and I'm going to step down from being Prime Minister. So Stuart Young was appointed. And I am so surprised that both leaders stepped down the same day after election. I thought that the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Raleigh, I thought that he already stepped down. I was surprised when I saw him campaigning also, because that is not something that I'm used to seeing in Caribbean politics. If you step down as a Prime Minister, the normal procedure, what I'm used to, is for that person to just pretty much disappear. And the person that's appointed would take over. And in an election cycle, that person would be the dominant person on the campaign trail. So I expected to see Stuart Young on the campaign trail being dominating the media. And so after the election and the PNM lost, I did not expect for Young to resign. That is the problem that I'm having. I've never seen it done before. And I've seen quite a few people in the comment section that say, like, look, he lost, so it's just fear for him to step down. I'm saying I'm almost 50 years old. I've never seen that happen before. And the perfect example is the new Prime Minister, because remember, she was Prime Minister before, she lost the election, and she remained as opposition leader until now she's back to be Prime Minister for a second time. So do not tell me that because he lost the election that is the reason for him to step down. No, I believe that he should have stayed as the opposition leader. And then we saw, like yesterday now, Penelope Beckles was appointed as the new opposition leader. So let's take a look to see what that process looked like.
Please present to you the incoming opposition leader for the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the member of Parliament for Rima, the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson. I now invite Ms. Robinson to address you.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. We just completed our exercise, our General Council meeting, where I was, first of all, I think you all would have seen a release where 6 of my colleagues would have recommended me. And there is the endorsement of the entire General Council for me to be the opposition leader. I want to take this opportunity to thank, the entire General Council, to thank my colleagues, my other 12 colleagues who will also be supporting and endorsing me. And I look forward to being the first female leader of the opposition of this national. Well, the first thing would be to meet with my members of parliament as well as the senators appointed, look at a post-mortem, basically of the elections. There are 2 younger members, Christian Birchwood as well as Carib Marcel. But there's a very experienced team. I mean, with Minister Imbert have been in the Parliament for quite a long time. So there's an experienced team, and it's a question of ensuring that we give the best support and guidance to our two new colleagues, and as well as the 6 senators.
Okay, so that was the process that took place just yesterday, and now we see the PNM with a new opposition leader in Penelope Beckles-Robinson. And I just want to congratulate her for being now the head of the party, the PNM, and the official opposition leader. And I think that this is a good thing, because what this does now is that whoever win the next election is going to be a woman. We're seeing like both major party in Trinidad and Tobago, and 2 women are at the head of the major party. And that is good for the Caribbean, because in the Caribbean, we have been trailblazers in the Caribbean when it comes on to women empowerment. Like for the past 50 years, we have been seeing more women CEOs, more women judges in the Caribbean per capita than anywhere else in the world. So this is a good sign for the Caribbean, for, women empowerment, and young girls across the Caribbean can look at themselves and say, you know what, I could be prime minister one day. So that is the good thing about this. My question is though about the whole process, and this is the problem that I'm having with the process. And the thing is that, okay, so the prime minister, Dr. Keith Raleigh, decided that, look, I'm going to step down. My personal belief is that he knew that he could not win the election, and therefore he just decided to step down. However, to give him some credit is that, there are video footage of him saying it when he won the election the last time, that, look, this is going to be my last rodeo. After this election, I am not going to run again. So we have to give him credit for that. Like, he kept his word. But the problem that I'm having with this process, what I'm used to, is that when a prime minister steps down, and we don't see it happen very often, but the times that we see it happen in the Caribbean, another prime minister would be appointed, and leading up to the next election, if that prime minister end up losing the election, that prime minister would be the official opposition for the party going into the next election. So I was very surprised when I saw Stuart Young stepping down, because the real problem I'm having with this is that, okay, so Stuart Young would have been prime minister for a few months, probably for 3-4 months the most. I don't remember the exact timing of when he was appointed, but he would be the prime minister for less than 4 months. My question is, now that Stuart Young has, stepped down as the chair of the party, when you look at the history of Trinidad and Tobago, and you look at the list of prime minister, for being prime minister, for being appointed prime minister, not elected by the people of Trinidad, for being appointed prime minister, will Stuart Young be on that list of prime ministers of Trinidad and Tobago? Not only that, for being prime minister for less than 4 months, will Stuart Young be receiving a prime minister's pension? I know all the Caribbean islands, they don't operate the same, but I know in terms of like for Jamaica and a few others, like the prime minister, if you serve as a prime minister, you will receive a pension. And the pension is not like what nurses and doctors or regular civil servant. It's almost comparable to like a full paycheck that a current prime minister would be making. I don't know if that's the case in Trinidad and Tobago. I've had a few people that reached out from Trinidad and Tobago who they're saying that yes, that is the case, that Stuart Young would receive a pension comparable to what the now Prime Minister Prasad going forward, that her salary that she would be making, that the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister Keith Raleigh and former Prime Minister Young would be considered to be getting that pension. And that would be like, I don't know if that's the case. So sound off in the comment section and let me know if that is what is going to really happen, because I've gotten some information from Trinidad and I can't verify it if that is real. But from all I'm hearing is that Prime Minister Young, former Prime Minister Young, even though Prime Minister for less than 4 months, is going to receive a Prime Minister's pension for the rest of his life. And he's going to be seen in the history of Trinidad as one of Trinidad Prime Minister. So that is the confusion for me. That's the problem that I'm having, because if that's the case, I don't believe that that would be in the best interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I believe that so close to an election, and the election was not necessary like the time that it took place. They had up until the end of this year, going into next year, to call an election. So my question is, why didn't Stuart Young stay on as the opposition leader? That is one of the questions that I have. And is he really going to get that pension? So sound off in the comment section and let me know what you think about this. And if you can answer, those questions, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.